Okay, so good morning, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to InterMine community call. As a reminder, we have a code of conduct in place. If you have an issue in the InterMine community, please speak with me or with Rachel. So today we just talk briefly about InterMine 502 release. Then Kevin we just give an introduction to BlueGenes 110 release, and then we talk briefly about the Upgrade-thon event that we have scheduled for October. So first of all, InterMine 402. As probably you didn't notice, but I skipped the release, so we moved from 500 to 502 because unfortunately the 501 release was broken. I've been told by Nexus repository manager that it was due to a sync issue with the Maven. And not sure what happened, but the 501, it doesn't hurt, but it doesn't provide the functionality that we wanted to provide. As you might have noticed from InterMine 500, we do not upload our artifact to JCenter anymore because they decided to not be open source anymore from the next year. So we decided to move to Maven repository, and to do that, we use a Nexus repository manager, which is an open source repository, which allows to store all the artifacts, and this is synchronized with the Maven. So just to give you, I put a link if you want to just have a look about our Nexus work and see our artifact there if you are curious. What does the release contain? First of all, I fix an XSS vulnerability, which Harry Marcus from InterMine highlighted. What is a vulnerability of this sort? The attacker, in theory, if he has the session ID, can run a script on the browser. And this happens when the application receives the data from the request, doesn't do any check of this data, and use this data to set the response. And unfortunately, we have this example in the, if you look at the legacy web app, the example was in uploading a list. When you upload a list, you specify a type. So in the backend, we didn't check if this type was a class defined in the model. And in theory, a malicious user might add in this type some script, and in the next page, it could run this script on the client, on the browser. So I fix the vulnerabilities, just a few lines. So if your mind is not updated to the latest release and you want to apply these vulnerabilities, just a few lines, I think in the, I don't remember, in the bag upload action class. What essentially do, I check the type before set it in the response. Okay, then the release contains a couple of fixes for the list enrichment and the list char widget, because they didn't work very well with the IDs, only with the list names. And we needed to fix it for BlueGenes, but Kevin will explain why later. Then thanks to Sam Hawking, we fixed the GFF3 converter. We actually, I think, store wrong information in the score property, and Sam fixed it. And then the BioGrid loader, I think we had an exception because the data changed, so we needed to add a more PSI term to prevent this. I think that Joel highlighted the issue and Sergio fixed it. So this is what the 402 release mainly contained. So if you have any questions?
Yes, I have. It's Paulo here. So we have a release, a build coming up. So should I move to 5.0.2? Or
yes, I would say why not? Yeah.
No, okay, because we tested 5.0, the initial 5.0 release. So then moving to 5.0.2 will solve those issues, correct?
Yeah.
That you mentioned. Okay. So yeah. I'll start because
Yeah.
we're starting the build in the next couple of days. So that's yeah, I need to do a couple of tests before.
This is useful for Kevin will explain for BlueGenes, in particular the fixes for the enrichment and the list chart. But I think Kevin will explain and we show you why they are useful. Yeah. Any other questions?
Okay, thanks.
You're welcome.
Oh, hi. So I had a question. So somewhere on the hi Daniela, on the release notes, I noticed that so for the so terms file, I mean so data loading, there's a comment saying that so.obo file has been removed to avoid duplication. So I was wondering what we need to do, if anything at all, for that. Because I did run into some errors, it went away, so I don't know, but I was thinking that there might be you know, there's a data source so to load sequence ontology terms.
Yeah.
That we don't have to do anything, we just include it in the project.xml normally. It somehow brings everything. But there's no ticket number associated with this, there's just a line, so that's why I couldn't see what was changed.
Okay, so could you, Kalpana, could you please add a ticket for me?
Okay, okay.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Okay, so we move on to BlueGenes 1.1 release. Kevin, please. Thank you.
Hello, everyone. Let me share my screen. Okay, so this is on live FlyMine, and I'm now going to show about chart and table widgets. So we support enrichment widgets with the release of BlueGenes, and then we added some stuff that we found were missing and received feedback on. So that's like the background population, which is pretty important for enrichment. And then we have the filters that you can configure for specific enrichment types. And yeah, so they just reload it when you change it. And then we noticed that the other enrichment, I mean the other widget types, which are table and chart widgets, which are displayed here, it won't be too much work to add them, so we did. And these charts are pretty similar to how it is displayed in the JSP web app. The chart library uses VegaLite instead of Google, which is a bit different. And it shows much of the same information, including which objects and their type, how many that are not analyzed in the widgets. And you can click the bars to see the results in a new table. And you can also use this these 3 dots to get a menu, and you can save it as image, or you can open it in a Vega editor. So VegaLite is just a JSON schema for creating graphs like this. So if you open it in the Vega editor, you can make like fine-tune changes, like changing the labels or constraining the data if you want something more specific. And similarly, there's also for the table, which in this case is orthologs on flymine.org. So these are configured in the same way as before, so there's no change to that. And if you have it configured previously for the JSP web, they should just work in BlueGenes once you update to 1.10. So that covers it all. And what I wanted to spend most of this column was to hear on feedback. So I was hoping we'd get more, so I could get more varied feedback from the rest of the community. But basically, what you would like to see in BlueGenes. So here we have listed some things that some of it exists issues for, that links to GitHub issues, and there's like more information there that details sometimes how we plan to implement it. But it would be great to receive your thoughts on what you would like to see pretty much. So I can go through each of these points pretty quickly. customizabilities like you have in the current JSP web app, especially ordering, removing pages and adding new ones. So right now in BlueGenes, you have to edit the source files to do that, and we could create an editor for it, for example, just make it much more easier in an editor in the page.
I'm okay with the customizing by editing the source files.
Okay.
Let's just say it would be great to have more ability to customize. I don't mind working with ClojureScript to actually customize things. So of course removing things is much easier than adding new things. But
Yeah.
If there is, let's say, a central file that I know there is the main view file contains most of the elements that go on the front page. But if there, let's say, an easy way for us to modify, so maybe the main page can be dismembered in small files that we can modify those files the way we want. Let's say our main goals would be to, let's say, add a customizable footer to the page, or remove some. Of course, remove, as I said, it's quite easy. But say add new tools, or maybe our own news or our own call for users or anything like that. So that would be the best thing. I don't mind about being the addition process being easy. It can be on the source file, but then it might be a little bit simpler to have an idea of where those files should go, or how we interact with those files and things like that.
Okay, so basically you don't need a full graphical editor, but maybe just a file that's easier to edit.
Yeah, I think let's say a visual editor for HTML or even for ClojureScript, that always adds a lot of clutter, and sometimes it's more difficult to get it right.
Yeah, I wasn't thinking something that's full on WYSIWYG, what you see is what you get, like Word. I was thinking more that you move data around that signify what's supposed to be there.
Yeah, no. So as I said, I know that I know some of the files. Let's say source files. Let's say mainly the main page. I think the main page is the ideal place for customization. Most of the other things will require maybe, let's say, a customizable footer, maybe a different header or something like that. But then you don't change that much the reports or the table views or the templates or anything like that. I think if we concentrate on things that, let's say, are simple to customize, and we're going to be on all pages, let's say, as I said, the footer, a header, maybe some other information that you want, that might be the ideal point. And because it's ClojureScript, and the CSS is under last, right? So
yeah.
And maybe a quick guide on how the ClojureScript interacts with the CSS or the last files, or how or what can you add or remove from different places. That might be the ideal starting point, I see.
Okay, so just write in documentation for how to edit the ClojureScript source files.
Yeah, as I said, I don't mind working with the source code. So it's say we did it before with the other app, right? So the legacy web app. So we have our own footer. Everyone has different some small different things on the main page, and say it's not a lot of things we need. Maybe just to say an easier way to understand how the code is set up, mostly. So
okay. Yeah, that's useful to know. It's much easier to just add more documentation.
Of course, this is only my opinion, right? So that then I'm comfortable with the ClojureScript code, but some other people might not be. So that's, mileage may vary depending on the person you talk to, right? So.
Yeah, that at least brings me to the thought of having an editor, to pushing it more into the future when more people voice they need it. So another thing that's slightly related is if you want to integrate a blast service. So likely you'll want to add a search to the home page. And like with source files, you could just have a place already have it in there, just comment it out. So that would be an alternative approach to adding it if we didn't have an editor for a homepage. So how about missing or about blast service? Does anyone have any opinions on that? That they would like to see it in BlueGenes?
So I read the ticket a little bit, and so it adds a lot of, so it either you will have a blast service that you're going to integrate, right? So, or you just get FASTA sequences from your in your mine, and then you blast them. That looks like what the person in the ticket is trying to say, right? Mm-hmm. So, because they're using their sequence server, which is it's a Ruby module or a Ruby wrapper around Blast to display sequences. And there are some talks in the Alliance of Genome Resources to add some kind of a Blast interactivity. So I think it might be, I don't know if everyone will be using sequence server, but then it might be an interesting connection between BlueGenes and some kind of a Blast visualization application.
Okay, we haven't thought about that. So what's mentioned here is what we saw people have in their old JSP web apps on how they integrated the Blast server, like having it easily accessible from the report page and the home page.
Yeah, that would be nice, I think, to have Blast ability in BlueGenes. We have talked about it for a while. I think some of those sequence analysis tools about them missing. So anything Blast or similar to Blast, right? Any sequence analysis tools, if they're provided, definitely will add a lot of value.
Okay, sounds great.
Yeah, just so you guys know, we've been using sequence server with our mines now for a while, and we'll probably continue to.
Yeah, I remember that you started recently, correct, Sam?
Yeah, probably about a half year ago, maybe a year ago.
Okay. Yeah.
Not a real big deal. Just a button. Added a button. So the Blast button we used to send off to. We had a Blast service, a custom Blast service on LIS, and then I switched it to send off to a sequence server. And I actually had to get a change done in sequence server to make that work. I think that might be, you might have caught a little bit of that back and forth. But it works fine. We haven't really done anything fancy with it yet, though, like embedding it like we're talking about here.
Yeah, do you think that fancy features would be useful without having to do it on your own end?
Yeah, and we have, because we, you know, it is particularly important for us because, you know, basically we're getting paid to do comparative legume research. So it's blasting from one plant to another is a really pretty important part of the whole deal.
Mm-hmm. So
how is it like sequence server? People like it? Did you consider NCBI Blast and compare it with any other tool before you went with sequence server?
No, I just did it as kind of a just an experiment, and then I liked it enough that I put it into production. It's a good question. I think maybe some people, and Andrew might be able to chime in on this. We already were using or had started using sequence server with some other apps at LIS, and so there might have been some reviews that had been done, but it wasn't by me.
Okay, thanks.
okay, so moving on to admin features. Does anyone feel that's pretty important to add into BlueGenes soon? The ability to create, edit templates, and set users as admin?
I think Andrew's trying to speak, but we can't hear him.
It's not like it.
Can you hear me now?
Oh, there we go.
And now I
Good
can.
work. Now
Okay, sorry. Yeah, I was just gonna mention that we had been using a blast service that was based on Triple, which was the framework that we had been using. And we did a little evaluation, but we were pretty happy with Sequence Server. I would say, you know, it would be nice if, I think at this point, the way you've integrated it, Sam, you know, basically you just take whatever sequence you click the button on for InterMine and you send it off there, and that's kind of the end of it. And you can look at the results in the Sequence Server interface, but it might be, since all the BLAST libraries are based on sequences we have in the mine, it might be nice to, you know, be able to get the hits and do enrichment analysis on them or something like that.
Yeah, I wouldn't even call it integration. It's just really a link out that
Yeah.
sends the FASTA over. Pretty crude.
Yeah, but I mean, I like what Kalpana was suggesting about, you know, sort of thinking more generally about sequence analytics services that could be plugged in.
Okay, so sounds like nobody was very eager about the admin feature. So how about list sharing? I think that was broken in the JSP web app some time ago. So maybe people haven't had the opportunity to use it, but has anyone used it in the past and would like to see it again? Just to be clear, that's for sharing private lists to other users based on their email.
You're talking about the admin?
No, this is, you don't need to be admin to use it. So you just have a private list and you want to share it with someone else so that they have access to it in the same
Oh, no,
way.
did you talk about the missing admin features, create, edit templates?
Yeah, I did mention that, but nobody
Okay.
commented. But we can go back to that if you have any to add.
Oh, I think I zoned out here. Sorry. Yeah, how is this the admin now on BlueGenes compared to the legacy web app?
So you can basically only set BlueGenes specific things like tools, adding, removing tools, visualization tools, and changing the report page layout, and adding a notice to the home page. So you can't set other users as admin.
Okay, but then let's say you.
And you can't create or edit templates.
Yeah, because our main issue, let's say, for the legacy web app regarding admin, I think I even opened a ticket a long time ago, is that so we have multiple admins, probably 3 people have admin accounts, and one of them would have the ownership of all templates. And even if you move the templates to another admin, those templates might not be public because that's not the main admin. So there was some kind of a disconnection between the templates.
Is this related to the roles?
I don't remember if it was related to the roles, but then we basically created a kind of a generic admin linked to a kind of a staff account where all the templates are going there, because say the mine is quite old, the warm mine is quite old. So then some people had admin access in the past. They created templates. The templates are public, but then when we move those templates to a different account, they don't show up in the tags don't work, or something gets filtered, or they don't display correctly, and then.
I think that we discussed about this in the past, and
a couple of years ago, probably, yes.
When it was the idea to introduce the concept of roles, as you mentioned, Kevin. So maybe if it might be, if we add in BlueGenes, it might be the correct time, the proper time to look also at this issue and solve it. Yeah.
Yeah, because the problem we had with the tags, so say if we create the IM public for a template that is connected to a user, even if it's admin, but it's not the, let's say, the legacy admin, the older admin there, the template won't show up in the main page or in the list of templates and so on, only after you log in. So yeah, there was and then that's why we decided to move everything to a single account that everyone or all the admins can access at the same time. So then make things a little bit simpler for everyone on regarding at least template manipulation and visualization, things like that.
Okay, thank you, Paolo, to remind us.
Yes. So it sounds like there was no interest for list sharing then, so we'll just leave that.
Yeah, the list sharing, I think there might be some people warm mind interested in that. So I know from at least from one creator that he actually uses quite a lot of list sharing, and he has his own private lists from over and over. So he checks the releases and stuff like that with lists. So I think might be an interesting thing to have. Maybe I don't know if it's a pressing issue or something that is too urgent, but I think will be a good to have, at least for some people that I know.
Yeah, I agree. I've used it before.
Yeah, I'm still on the list sharing. Sometimes we have emails from users asking for different things, and most of the times we can solve with one query, but sometimes we need a couple of queries, and then creating a list might be the easier way to set up that. And then say if we can share the list with a specific user or someone that is working on the same thing, might be an interesting thing to have.
Okay, sounds like it's something that's needed. And I believe all the web services work for it, so we just have to add it to BlueGenes. So the remaining 3 points, improving IM tables using BlueGenes because it's not as featureful as the one in the JSP web app and spent as much time on it. And there are lots of tickets on that repo for each of those things. And then improving the experience.
What is missing? I thought it had everything.
There's lots of things in the export model specifically.
Oh, okay.
So you don't have as much freedom to customize in, but yeah, if you haven't encountered it, that's good.
No, I mean, and did you mention there are tickets for all the missing features?
Yeah, I will perhaps show it.
Okay.
I'll share my screen again. So I'll try and find the ones that are mostly relevant. It's pretty much the export modal functionality. It's pretty much, this is everything the old IM tables has, so we'll need to add that. Preview, rename more file types, sending to Galaxy.
And the frictionless is a
Yeah.
old screenshot.
Actually, this screenshot here is old, so we added things like frictionless and compression to it. So that's one pretty big thing. Also, some of the models could be improved, like the add column, and also the one for filters, editing filters, manage filters model. I think those are the most important things.
Okay, I see. So it's in IM tables repo, all those tickets.
Yeah, IM tables 3.
Okay. Yeah, I'll look at it. Yeah, thanks.
Okay, great, thank you. Then we have the improving experience when switching between mines. I don't know if anyone's noticed it, but there could be improvements there, since BlueGenes will clear some things like your recent queries, I think, as well as the recent lists, templates you opened in the activity dropdown. So they don't really need to be cleared. With some extra code, we can just keep it and display the mine name in it. So it could be useful if you jump between mines a lot in BlueGenes, because then you can easily jump to a list you open in a different mine without having to go through your history, like right-click on the back button and find it. And finally, there's the more features for list analysis. And about that, I'm mainly talking about the sidebar, which is on the legacy, I believe, which allows you to like check list similarity and convert to different types, which you can already do in iron tables, but it just makes it more obvious. I'm sure it's not loading here. So this sidebar here. So just let us know if you think any of those things are important, otherwise we'll leave it for the future. Okay, if nobody has anything to add, I guess we can end the call.
I wonder, Kevin, if we could actually have a quick voting for the favorite improvement from the non-InterMine people here. Just anybody can say what is the most interesting feature they would like to see sooner.
Yeah, that's a good idea.
So should we start with Paolo?
You're going to call them up.
Why me? Yes, you're
Paolo.
singling out me. So.
Come on, you are the first in my monitor.
I think for me, let's say BlueGenes will be the customization. So yeah, I think the blast also is a great idea. I don't know how difficult or easy are those things, but say customization might be my main idea for now.
Okay, thanks.
Andrew? It's less cool.
Yeah, I probably need to spend a little more time actually playing with BlueGenes in its current incarnation, but I don't know. All these seem like good things to add in. I'm not sure I would have necessarily a top one. Probably the blast one, except that we already have it in our implementation, so it might not. Actually, do we have it in BlueGenes, Sam, or is it just in the older web?
Yeah, we don't, and I would say that, I mean, again, what I've done is really minimal. If somebody else wanted to do the hard work of truly integrating sequence server in, so that you can do a blast and then click on a result and get back to a mine. I think that would be my number one request, because that sounds like a fair amount of work that I'm not sure I want to do, but if it's me that does it, that's okay. So yeah, true. We're using blast as a verb, I guess. So true blast integration.
Great. Kalpana?
Yeah, so like Andrew said, I haven't played with it much. So in EastMine Dev, I just recently upgraded to 5.0, and I have the ability to play BlueGenes also side by side. So for me, main thing would be to have everything that's in the current legacy web app. I would check. That's how I would go. Like I'd make sure no major thing is missing, right, before I can switch. And for some time we will provide side by side, and I would ask our curators to test. So before that, I haven't tested it much, but I will do that, and I can give you all more educated feedback. But for now, I would say like no major feature should miss from the current legacy app is what I would say. So regarding that, adding charts and widgets would be my top, right? I mean, that cannot be missing in list analysis page.
Thank you. Eric? Do you have any suggestion, Eric, regarding?
I'm sorry, you're talking to me?
Yeah.
Oh, hello. Well, first I should say I'm not a scientist, and I'm not a InterMine user per se. I've been tasked with participating a bit here because we were initially notified about the cross-site scripting vulnerability within the InterMine structure. And I look forward to the sessions in October when we can get upgraded. So having said that, I didn't understand a lot of what you all were talking about, but it was interesting, and because I understand, at least in general, what the InterMine project is about. And what I was impressed with was the functionality to export data in whatever format you needed to then plug into other applications or other analysis.
Okay, perfect. So that was one of the points, actually. Yeah, great. Thank you. Asher?
Can you hear me?
Yeah.
So I think the integrated sequence server or BLAST would be a good option. We tried the sequence server on the bar. It's not officially public or live yet. We haven't announced it anywhere yet, but it's working. The version 2 works nicely for us. The version 2 is not officially released yet, so we are following commit by commit of the beta versions, or I think there's a release candidate or so on. But it would be nice to see it integrated in InterMine or BlueGenes. And I guess that's the only feature that, yeah, list sharing would be nice. That's it, I think.
Okay, thank you. Ank?
Yeah, hello.
Hello, Ank.
So, yeah, I'm no longer outside of InterMine. So, I mean, you started to like ask people from outside the InterMine, right? So, hello. So, can you hear me?
Yes, not very well, but yeah. So, Ank, do you have any? Yeah.
No, I mean, not really. For BlueGenes, I'm not sure. Like everyone before me already added interesting things there. So maybe a component library. Like
I agree with that, but it's not on the list.
yeah.
You're running too fast, Ank. Slow down.
Yeah, I mean, everyone before me already added everything, so I'm running out of ideas.
Oh, okay. Should we ask also Ankit for an opinion on the various features?
Sure, okay.
Yeah. I don't know if Ankit is.
Yeah, can you hear me?
Yeah.
Yes.
So I also have the same opinion about BlueGene, that it should be nice if we have a component library there. So, and also I just joined to know about the community call, how it goes and all. That's why.
Okay.
It's nice of both of you to join. So
yeah.
That's +2 for component library.
Yeah.
Yeah, but it's all in the family, so I don't know. Oh, okay, thank you everybody for the idea and the opinion. I think Kevin has quite a good data set now to work.
Yeah. Thank you.
Okay, so have you finished, Kevin? Yeah?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have one last thing. Really. So I open a ticket that still the AGR mines under BlueGenes. It's only listing warm mine, so it should have yeast mine too, because I think it's the only one of the mod mines they are in over 4.0. And then we have the Alliance mine already released, and and I think I don't know if Kalpana already did for a 5.0 on that, but it's definitely over 4.0. So because we only have warm mine as the AGR mines there.
Yeah, we need to add it to a registry. So I think we'll do it when Rachel is back.
Yeah, East Mine is already in the registry. I think Alliance Mine might need to be added there, but the East Mine is already in the registry. I don't know why it's not.
But I mean
there.
the neighborhood. So AGR is
Oh,
defined on the
okay.
registry.
So
we have to.
Okay.
Yeah, so we have to add it to that group on the registry.
Okay, and is the register being updated every month or so still, or you guys decrease the time between updates?
Well, I don't know about the pooling. It's much more frequent than that. It should be.
Okay, because yeah, we had an issue a year ago or some where it was like say once a month, and then warm mine was down exactly at the time when it was being updated, so we got kicked out.
No,
Yeah.
are you talking about the registry, Paolo? No, the registry every day upload the information about the version, if it's running or not. It's daily, the synchronization. And,
okay.
And let me say, the idea, the label, what you want to see is already, everything is the ticket, because I can add in the registry. We want only to verify with Rachel that the value were correct, the domain were correct. But all the information are in the ticket. Paolo, can you confirm me?
I think I added there. I can revise the ticket and take a look. Yeah, but they say it should be at least warm mine and east mine. And I said as soon as the alliance mine is connected to the registry, it should be there too.
Okay.
I think some people are going to work on. There is mouse mine. I think they're working with you too on the upgrade.
Yeah,
and it seems so for the hackathon there, the update-a-thon, some other minds might be joining to upgrade.
Okay, I have only to verify that in the registry we might add more than one neighbor. I'm not sure, but I will check because I think it's mine already is in one neighbor. But I will check. I will figure out. Okay, I will let you.
Okay, because I know one mine is part of the animals and AGR, and then say East is not in the AGR part at least. Okay,
I will have a look. Okay. Okay, so if there are no other questions, I move to the last item in the agenda. It's about the Upgrade-thon. So we have decided to run the event on October, the 7th of October. This event is, we would like to encourage all our administrators to update the InterMine version that they are using, because there are still some mine instances that still use a version older than the 2.0 version. That is the version when we migrate to Gradle. So please, if you know in the community, if you know other administrator who maintains an InterMine instance which use an older version, please publicize the event. So what we are going to do during the Upgrade-thon, the idea was the first part, mainly focusing on Gradle, so how to migrate and migrate the InterMine instance to a most recent InterMine version. And then I will provide maybe a short tutorial, because I've been asked a short tutorial about on Gradle, the basic Gradle task that maybe not all of you know and might be useful. And then in the second part, will be more BlueGenes focused. So I think that Kevin can provide maybe an overview about how to install BlueGenes, how to customize, and maybe discuss again about the new functionality in BlueGenes, because maybe in October we have already in place some functionality that we have discussed today, and maybe we want to discuss about the next one. Just an idea. If you have any particular request, please send us an email. I have already some specific requests on the comment, the request form that I sent you, but if you have more requests or suggestions, please write to us. I think that's it for today. Next call, we haven't scheduled yet. I think that it will be after summer, and we will think about the after summer when it will be. I will end if nobody else has any more questions. No more questions? Okay, so thank you for coming, and have a nice day or evening. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you. Bye.
Bye.